Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Bruce.
I'm your host, Pete. What's going on, Bruce? How are you?
I'm doing well. The school year is rapidly coming to a close. The
You must
warm
be
weather is
happy.
I can't even express how happy
The
I
joy?
am.
Yeah,
Oh, it can't come fast enough. I still got 8 teaching days to go.
nice.
But it's single digits. I'm like counting down the duties that I have to do, where I have to go and supervise kids at lunch hours. So like those are down. Like it's coming to an end. It's going to be time for a well deserved break from
There you go.
from teaching, and the general level of peculiarity of teaching in a middle school. Like if anybody thinks that middle
Sure.
school is
It's a dark
like
time for all of us, I
it
guess.
is a weird place some days, and there are some very very weird conversations.
That's okay.
But
Well,
anyway, it's been
we're gonna
good.
get weird. We're gonna get weird with
Oh,
these cards, so
are we? Are we?
that's what
Oh,
we're doing. We're,
oh,
we're
oh.
talking about some hot garbage, and I'm excited to see what's been brought. I guess age before beauty, Bruce. Take us away.
All right, so my first card tonight, we got a creature. We got the card Micromancer. This doesn't look like much, but I think this card is kind of neat. So 3 and a blue for a 3/3 creature, human wizard. When this creature enters, you may search your library for instant or sorcery card with mana value 1, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Pete, what do you think?
There's like over 1,100 hits for this card. And thinking about mono blue first, preordain, ponder. It's nice to get a little bit of extra card advantage after you tutor. So that's always pretty nice. And even pulling like a Path to Exile, or there's some 1 mana ramp spells now, allowing you to get a card, or Analyze the Pollen is a nice card where you can search for a land. If you collect evidence, you can also search for something else. So, Micromancer, like the other Mancers, is a nice flex slot, I think, for a utility. It's like a toolbox card. It's not going to be played in every deck. It's also
No.
incredibly inexpensive, which is great.
Yes.
But to be honest with you, Bruce, I've actually never played this card in a deck. So,
So
shame on me, I guess.
I've started to fool around with it a little bit and like play with some brews. The card that I want to partner it with, why I led into it, was 3 steps ahead. So because of the spree cost on it, it acts like a much more expensive spell than a 1 mana spell. But because the actual mana value on the card is a single blue pip, you can tutor it up with Micromancer, meaning you now can go and find a pretty potent card. Now, don't get me wrong. That's 4 mana, and you then need at least 3 mana to make 3 steps ahead relevant. But I think the interaction is kind of cool, and it's a very very budget friendly way to go find some really really good cards to make your deck go. So I was thinking like along the lines of like a dark ritual. Like if you
Sure.
go find a dark
Not a bad
ritual
idea.
and like go and do something like that. Like it goes and finds all sorts of really useful things in lots of decks. So I think it's one of those things that I think people probably should be thinking about sliding in your deck. I know at 4 mana it's a little bit tough because at 4 mana you want to do things that are a little more bang for your buck, but sometimes having the option just to go pull up the utility you need and put it in your hand so you have it for later has got a lot of value.
The other argument, before we move on, is I felt this way personally with deck building. I've cut a lot of tutors for more or less card advantage that's a little bit more like scaled up, because it's really you're kind of replacing this card with whatever you're getting, and it has to resolve, of course, for this to happen. I found because of the speed of the game now and how quickly things materialize on the board, I feel like this card is too slow. It's a great limited card, but I feel like sometimes an effect like this for tutoring, like Diabolic Intent, stuff like that, you're not really developing your board out in that way.
Right. Yeah.
Tutors can be very powerful, of course. Mystical tutor, right? Enlightened tutors, stuff like that. Vampiric tutor. But I've been trying to build a deck more with like looking at more cards faster than necessarily playing this one tutor where it doesn't do anything else. It just kind of sits there afterwards for the most part. Again, some people will flicker it or do something to abuse the ETB effect.
Right.
But in a world where there's so many ETB effects that are just very, very just gravy, um, I find that I've been cutting tutor-like effects for other ways to look at cards. Like Drawn
Oh,
into
that's fair.
Dreams looks at the top 7, you get 2 cards. Memory Deluge, you look at the top as much mana you pay into it. Look at the top X, put 2 in your
Yeah.
hand, stuff like that. I think it's just because of the meta that I play with, the people that I play with, and then also just they've really emphasized creature depth in Magic. Where tutoring for a 1-drop instant or sorcery back then was like the bee's knees, but now in the current situation we find ourselves in, with people rebuilding board states quickly, recovering quickly with creatures. Creatures have a ton of value tacked to them, a ton of text on them. This is just a point, like a stylistic approach, I think, to playing, right? The toolbox cards versus the synergy cards.
Right.
And maybe
I
you
was
get a little bit of both. But you were
yeah.
alluding to that, and I know that.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I mean, like my inclusion of this is increasingly because like I've found a store in a local town nearby that I can play at a little bit on a Friday night and get some F&M, but I'm playing at a different power level too, right? So a lot of the players are a little bit more inexperienced, and so
You can test more things and
I
kind of
can
have a
test
little
some
bit of
stuff.
fun
Yeah,
with it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
can play around with a Micromancer. I mean, like, that doesn't mean I can diddle doddle around and do nothing, but
Sure.
like pulling up a powerful spell into my hand to answer what I need to do is got some value
Right.
to it. So anyway,
I'm
it's
playing some
interesting how
devil's
like
advocate. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
but depending on your meta, like it might be what you want, it might be something you're gonna opt away from, and that's okay. But
Right.
it
It might be your
definitely is not.
110th. It might be your
Yeah, it
last
might be
card.
your 97th, right? So
Sure.
anyway, what did
So
you
the
find?
next card is actually kind of in line with this sort of idea about creature domination. This card is from the precon, the Dragons of Tarkir precon with the token production.
Yeah, the Mardu
So,
one. Yeah.
yeah, Iron Will Forger. It's 3 colors and white. Orc Artificer. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, target non-legendary creature you control gains Myriad until end of turn.
Mm. So, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, so there's an if clause. If you have your commander,
Right.
and then you need to also have a non-legendary creature that you have control that you want to attack with in order to grant it Myriad. So, here's my I rather like the text box. Like, I like this ability to target a non-legendary creature. Here's what I've actually found increasingly in my decks, though. More and more, the cards that I want to put in my commander deck are actually legends. There are actually very few non-legendary creatures that I put in my deck, because with the proliferation of all the when they only had 5 or 6 legends a set, the vast majority of your cards in your deck were going to be non-legendary. But now when they're producing 30, 40, 60, 80, I think this set for Final Fantasy is got almost 100 legends in it. We're being pushed in the direction of having more legends in our deck, meaning there's fewer valid targets. Now that doesn't mean that there are no valid targets, but it just means that there are fewer. And then you want them to be value from either their attack trigger or their enter the battlefield or whatever it is you're doing. So
Right.
I think it takes I think what I'm saying is the setup cost here is high, and so while I'm interested in this card, I think whereas like the Micromancer might be small ball, at least I am assured that I'm going to get the effect of tutoring up the thing. This, there's no guarantee that I'm going to have my commander. There's even less guarantee I have a non-legendary creature that I want to attack with. Like, if I have a Llanowar Elves, like, making 2 more copies of Llanowar Elves is not really a productive endeavor. going to get something like what's a big old dragon, for instance. I don't know, like some dragon. Like that to me sounds cool, right? So let's go find some big old nasty dragon, and we're gonna make our opponents pay. So, like, I think that for me, the setup cost is where I get stuck on this, unless you've got a way to convince me that this is better than I thought.
So I could look at this in two ways. The first being you play a big, heavy haymaker that has an ETB effect. You know what I mean? Like Archon of Cruelty, for example, would be a card where you play it, although the tapped and attacking Myriad doesn't work, now that I think about it, but copying it is kind of gross. I was also thinking smaller, like Solemn. Like you copy Solemn, swing with Solemn, and make some Solemns
Yeah,
to get some
no,
lands
yeah,
up.
that would definitely be.
Or there's a construct card, not a construct. There's a 3-mana artifact creature. It's a 2/3. It says when it enters, you gain 2 life. When it leaves, you draw a card. I forget the card name. The fact that it's an artificer, I think it works with a lot of those types of creatures that do that. Or like even your Micromancer, you could myriad that,
Yeah, no,
which
for
is
sure.
kind of interesting.
Which
So
that would be cool for sure.
it's just one of those cards where I looked at it once and I said, I can't believe that this effect is printed on a body that's repeatable. Where like Blade of Selves
Yeah,
is expensive, right? Blade of Selves is 6 mana.
yeah,
This card is only 4, and it happens immediately. As long as you control your commander, you can curve out to this thing.
yeah.
The downside is the tokens don't stick around after combat, and people are gonna get wise as to what you're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing is you can target itself, which is kind of cool.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
No,
pretty neat.
that's kind of cool. You could. I'm not sure
Uh,
what you do. What does that yield you? Like, I don't know if
I
it
don't know.
yields you anything.
I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. Like they didn't choose to have it, or everybody's favorite cloning effect, right? Like Arrhenius's Vile Duplication or whatever that card is, the 4-mana
Yeah,
sorcery. You could copy that token.
yeah,
Um, it has flying stuff like that. Or I was considering cards that made a bunch of bodies when they enter. Like Hornet Queen would be a really interesting way to copy something
yeah.
because
Or
you're making a
Kramer
million blockers.
or
Yeah.
Gary.
Gary actually would be gross because Gary would see all of them, so you could
Yeah,
actually kill the table with that.
yeah. You
So
could
there you go.
legitimately just kill the table. Which I was like would probably be the number one target. I think I'd be looking for with this particular card. That's still a lot of setup, but yeah, I could see myself if I wanted to do the Gary thing and dome my opponents for a million. Like you slap some sort of equipment on it so that it can't be blocked, attack with impunity, and then make a million and kill the table. So yeah, I'm kind of in. I kind of like it. I think I might fool around with that card. I might take it out. I have that precon. I might
Yeah.
take it out and try it somewhere else because I don't. I mean, I like that Mardu deck, but I think I don't love that effect in it because again, lots of legendary creatures are in it, and not as many targets for
Yeah.
this card.
Yeah. Again, it's a conditional, right? So it's like they tried to make it fair, which makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, for sure. I have no problem with the design of the card. Like, it's a pretty neat card. Like it definitely gets you. I like the fact that there's tension to it, and you have to think about it. You're like, this is powerful. What am I
Yeah.
doing with this?
So
So it
that
doesn't fit automatically everywhere.
right. The next card also has to make you think about attacking and blocking, but it's pretty simple. It says it's hold the line. It's 1 colorless and 2 white instant. Blocking creatures get +7/+7 until end of turn.
See,
From Champions of Kamigawa.
like, okay, so I don't like this sort of effect in Commander. Like, this would be fantastic and limited when you're going to be, doing a lot of back and forth and attacking and blocking and like really playing to the board. In Commander, I find that this happens less than I might appreciate, because there's a lot of strategies that never rely on you putting your creatures into combat in the first place. Now that said, the hilarity from taking your slew of 1/1 tokens and suddenly gobbling up their Alpha Strike with all their Crater Hoof nonsense definitely appeals to me. right? Like that is definitely like that would be the dream come true. They swing in with their juiced up stuff thanks to Crater Hoof, and you go, oh, I'm just going to block with these little 1/1s, and I'm going to hold the line, get wrecked, and
You
you
know
win
what?
combat.
You know what's hilarious? It's all blocking creatures, so it's your opponents as well. So if
Oh,
you could
you
totally
could
blow out someone.
have it set up so that they both lose big, like.
Sure.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, I'm a little bit more on board there. I hadn't appreciated that it did. Yeah, no, I read
Because
the
it just
card.
says blocking creatures, so all creatures that block get
Oh
+7,
man,
+7.
that's taking advantage of a loophole in the way the old rules were written, and now way cards are
Correct.
templated these days. This card would never exist in
That's
the.
why I brought this up. Because,
Yeah,
yeah, it would never exist in real life now. It's a card that's
but
only been printed twice. One in a limited dual deck set, and the other was
yeah,
in Champions, which,
well,
people didn't really buy a lot of that back in the day, right?
no magic. Well, that's the
Magic
yeah,
was dying slowly at that point.
and the original Kamigawa set was like not great power wise. So that is
Yeah.
super cool. I okay.
So,
Now that I can
I mean,
knowing that, do I change my opinion?
you're
Still,
entitled to anything in this
yeah.
discussion.
Well, I mean, it definitely gives a new perspective on the card, and so I have to ask myself, would I? I mean, I have a deck where I might actually want to get into this. So Maha, my green white tokens deck, that's basically plays on a landfall, has a problem in that like it can pretty much get wrapped up by a pyroclasm effect, right? So pyroclasm, anger, oh no, it's gonna be blocking, so it just can't pump. Uh Maybe not. I don't know. Like I might have to go and fool around with this. At 40 cents, I probably can spring for a copy and see if I can fool around with it. I don't know. I'm optimistic but skeptical. Does that make sense?
Sure. It's just a card that really isn't played much, you know?
No, it certainly is not. And I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen this card get played.
Could you imagine this
Um,
with banding? I'm just saying.
oh, dude, you just hurt the. Oh no. I
Hurt the
was
brain a
trying
bit.
to.
Yeah.
I was
Massage
trying
the
to
brain.
explain that card to my children, like banding, how banding works, and I don't think I could actually do it. Huh.
There you go.
All right. All right. I got something I think is far more prominently played and is super cool. I have Will of the Mardu. So
Okay.
2 and a white for an instant. Choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. The first mode is create a number of 1/1 red warrior creature tokens equal to the number of creatures target player controls. And Will of the Mardu deals damage to target creature equal to the number of creatures you control.
Okay, so you can stack the abilities. You can have the warriors enter first and then deal the damage to a creature. Okay, hear me out. I was skeptical about this cycle that they printed, right? Because they seemed rather underpowered for what they did, minus the Sultai one. That one's very good. But this one is growing on me a little bit because of the fact that you can deal the damage to any creature. And you can create some blockers at instant speed to keep yourself alive. I could see this in a burn deck, believe it or not, as a way to potentially win the game.
Yes?
Like repercussion sort of effect, maybe. Or I was thinking more or less you play Rem Caleris. Rem Caleris reduces the damage dealt to your creatures. Like non-combat damage. If a spell would deal damage to you or another permanent, prevent it. If a spell would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent they control, it deals that much damage +1. I like this as a complementary piece because that kind of deck always needs blockers, but doesn't really produce enough because it's trying to burn you out, right? So you're
Yeah.
not going to play creatures really. Like I have a burn deck, I play 5 creatures in the deck. It's a joke. It's such a meme of a deck.
Yeah.
However, I like this style because I like this style of card because it's flexible. Like yes, it fits in the token deck very easily, but you might be able to do some interesting things with it. Is what I'm trying to say. What do
Yeah.
you think?
And I think you're spot on there. I think because it has a lot of interesting applications that extend beyond just being in a token deck. I know it's premised on being a token card, but you can do other things with it, and I think that makes it flexible and cool. I also think that with all the excitement, people are gonna like pass this card over, and like 2 years from now, someone's gonna be like, I need this effect in my deck. Where can I find? And they're gonna find that this Will of the Mardu card is like hard to track down because it's not widely available, and that
it's efficient too. It's an efficient card for what it does. Even making the bodies at minimum, I think that's good. I think this works really well with that Death Touch creature that gives your instant sorceries Death Touch as well, I think. The spirit, Pestilent Spirit. I think that actually works the way I think it does, where the spell itself actually deals the damage, which is interesting. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So yeah, just some weird application there. But anyway, we've got our final 2 picks are just oddball cards, like just weird stuff.
Oh yeah. These are some weird ones.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go this one because, like, I'm going to give full credit to this one, their audience. Pete suggested I have a look at this card, and I'm like, I had never seen this card in my whole life, and I thought this card was cool. And with the upcoming set coming out in August, being the Blind Eternities set with like all the colors Eldrazi, this may have some relevance. So this is Thran Lens, 2 mana for an artifact. All permanents are colorless.
Yeah.
This
card has only been printed once. It's weird. Probably would never be printed in real life now.
No.
It really messes with people because I always got confused when I started playing. I thought lands that were of a particular color were actually that color's permanent. Like they were, like a mountain was red, right?
Right.
But in fact, lands are colorless permanents. To turn everything into a colorless permanent could make certain creatures unblockable, right? Yeah. It could really hose certain strategies as well if you have protection from colors, because now you have protection from nothing. So it actually gets around protection, which is pretty cool. And I could see this in like a deck that needs to get around the protection element and wants to do it in a way that like intimidate, right? Like giving your creatures intimidate, like Vela's that wizard creature that gives everything intimidate.
Yes.
Right? It basically makes everything unblockable then, because it says creatures can't be blocked except by artifacts and or creatures that share a color with it. If everything is colorless, everything is that you control is unblockable with Vela the Nightclad. And I think that's a super cool application for this type of card. Where it's such an old, weird effect that really doesn't see much of any play.
No.
And it's not like you're playing Painter Servant and being a combo heavy person, but it's always a card that I wanted to try at one point, the Vela Nightclad card. And just see what happens. But that's where I'm going with this. So,
I have to say, like with that Eldrazi set coming down the pipe and all the Eldrazi stuff that we've had in the last sort of 2 years with Modern Horizons 3 and their commander, there's a commander deck like the Zuladok and Ulalak decks that came out. Like there's a lot of impetus to play color stuff. Now, incidentally, it doesn't turn them into artifacts, which is probably a win. Because if you did, it would power up artifact decks like nobody's business. So now you're looking specifically into non-artifact colorless decks, which like leans into Eldrazi. I think this is going to be a card that could potentially be really impactful with this new Eldrazi set coming out at the beginning of August. So I saw this and I'm like, ooh, I don't know what I'm doing with that yet, but that could be gnarly. There could be some really, really gnarly impact on that card, and people are going to be like, I don't know what that card does. So I think it's a neat card. I think people should be looking out for it and seeing what you can do with it. So
it breaks Forsaken Monument, right? Because Forsaken Monument +2/+2 whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional, so it doubles your mana count. Gruesome Slaughter. This card's old. It's from Zendikar, right? Battle for Zendikar. 6 mana sorcery. Until end of turn, colorless creatures you control gain tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. That would be
Yes,
interesting
I remember.
application too.
Yes, that
Classic card there. Yeah, there's some stuff that definitely.
that gruesome slaughter card could be really really neat because like the problem with that gruesome slaughter card is that most of the time colorless decks play little scions and token stuff, and
Yeah.
then they end up only having a select number of really big thumpers that end up making the battlefield. And now you can turn your mid-range creatures into colorless things that are going to smash through their blockers and punch them through for a bunch of damage. So I think that's gruesome slaughter is cool. I think that's really neat. Yeah, I think this is going to have some real applications. I think coming up in the next 6 weeks or so. So I'm pretty cool.
All right. I will finish this off with one of the weirdest cards I've ever found in Magic. This card was in Legends and then got reprinted, so it's 50 cents. In Chronicles.
It was in Chronicles. Yeah, I got reprinted in Chronicles. I remember seeing this in Chronicles as a teenager.
So 1 green. It's a world enchantment. Players play with their hands revealed.
I hate this card. I hate this card.
Why? Why do you hate this card?
So okay,
It's awesome.
so
It's just telepathy, but it shouldn't be existing.
So I don't
right?
I don't like telepathy in the first place, and I like this less. So because now it's funny. It's a funny card. Now here's the problem: playing with the telepathy effect on the battlefield makes the game really hard because part of the game is disguising information and hiding it from your opponents. And when they can see your full game plan, there's no longer any subterfuge. There's no game beyond the game. You're literally playing to the board.
Poetic, but
and so I'm like, oh, like you can't ambush them with that counter spell. You can't get them with that like removal spell. You can't there isn't the opportunity to reverse fortunes the way you want to, and so you end up having to play your whole game plan changes. And I know people don't think of it that way, but I'm like, I've like run into this a couple of times where I'm like, this totally changes the way I play the game in a way that I don't necessarily like. And if I'm the player controlling the telepathy effect, I'm like, I don't want this. I probably want to ambush my opponents and surprise them. I don't want to, unless I'm playing just overwhelming beef. And
yeah. So what I was gonna say was like the group players banging on a table, like, oh, this is great because now I can get around all these control players I play with, right?
Yes.
Using it as a way to be like, all right, you know what? I'm sick of you guys holding your cards close to your chest. We're gonna have to all see them now.
Okay.
It also creates a unique situation where the politicking will ramp up infinitely. Like I'm surprised a lot of group hug decks don't play this card because it's hilarious.
Oh,
because then it's like you can see like how garbage their hand is and how garbage your hand is because of what was going on earlier in the game.
Yeah.
And if you wheel somebody, you play like a windfall. It's fun because now, and honestly, you could put this in a Golgari deck where you're using the graveyard because the graveyard is your second hand anyway, and everybody can see that. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
So why should you care? Why should you care that everyone can see your hand when you're going to just put your stuff on the table anyway?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So, like it's got some. It definitely makes.
It's a dumb card. It is a very dumb card.
This is dumb.
It's stupid and it shouldn't be ingrained, but it's here to stay. The other thing is, it's not any Zer's weirding, so we're okay. Zer's weirding is an awful card to play with.
It is awful. And
this card is just stupid.
It is stupid and it's so cheap. Single green mana. I'm like, what? What the? Like I know
the only card. Telepathy's 1 blue, but that's expected because it's blue and it's been printed.
Blue, exactly. This is green. Like what? I don't know, man. I would be prepared to give this a try and see if it does what I think it would do. Like maybe it changes the dynamic of the game because like a blue player running telepathy is a very different thing than a green green deck running telepathy. Like,
could you imagine?
Well, like I'm trying to, and I'm like, it's actually giving me an aneurysm. So, but
jeez,
like,
okay, let's calm down there. What about Simic with their long turns? You play this card, and they're playing the Simic deck, and they have this card, and they play it. So now you get to watch them in real time, figure out what their combo is because they forgot it.
Could you describe a less appealing play line? Like, anyway,
Dredge, that would be less appealing. Dredge would be much less appealing.
oh, that's true. That would be rough. That'd be brutal. Oh my god.
Anyway, I don't want to depress you. I don't want to depress you, Bruce. So
no,
I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah. Indeed, it is.
Say goodbye, right? So that's it, folks.
Time.
Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Bruce, we're going to bring some more fire and some bad cards, like
Have
Revelation.
Some bad cards.
What a poetic way to kill an opponent, right? Anyway.
With boredom brought on by telepathy.
That's exactly how I'm trying to do it.
All right, baby.
Take
All right,
care.
later, folks. Catch you soon, folks. Bye.